Guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about food and anxiety. It might not seem that related, but actually your gut and your brain are really heavily connected. So what you eat does actually affect how you feel and how your body reacts to stress. So without further ado, let's get on into it. Now, I've never really been a big foodie. I just eat because I have to, not because I particularly enjoy foods. And as I got older, I got lazier with food because I had to prepare it myself, and I just eat worse and worse and worse things. I'd eat what other people around me are eating or what my friends were eating, and I never really cared about it. I didn't think too much about it. When I got older though, it started to influence how I felt. And it took me to reach like one of the lowest points in my life to realize actually what I was eating was resulting in nausea-based anxiety. Like, that's the simplest way to put it. The anxiety that I experienced at the start was hard to explain, but it was more like the need to run away. As the years went by, anxiety kind of manifested itself into something that really just made me feel nauseous. And it got to a point that I just couldn't eat anything. I lost a lot of weight, and it was just a really bad time. And it took a long time to realize that actually it was anxiety, yes, but one of the big things I needed to change was my diet. That was one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, because changing what you eat and when you eat actually can really help reduce or minimize the amount of anxiety experience. That's not to say that food is necessarily the problem or a trigger, but it does change how bad or how badly you experience the symptoms. The first thing to cut out is caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant, and it's just awful when it comes to anxiety. I'm sure anybody who has cut out coffee can testify that actually it changed their life for the better, right? I know people who drink multiple coffees a day and it's just normal to them and they have no bad effect from it. For me, it just again led me to feeling nauseous. It took me a while to realise, and it took me a long time to decide actually, because it started with I'd feel ill for like 10 minutes and then you go, oh, it's fine, I'm going out with friends, I want to have a coffee, I don't want to worry about what I'm going to have in a cafe, so I'll just order a coffee, feel unwell for 10 minutes, then it's fine. That time that I would feel ill just started to get longer and longer and longer. At one time it was like 3 hours. So imagine you go out, you have a coffee for like half an hour, and then you're feeling rotten for about 3 hours. And I mean like unable to do anything, kind of feeling ill. And then the one time, which was the last time that I had an actual proper coffee, I felt ill for the entire rest of the day. And that was when I realised how ridiculous it was. I was like, I could have just had a water, I could have had a tea. I didn't have to have a coffee. I did. Then I felt ill, and that was when I decided to stop. It's better if it doesn't get that bad for you. But if you deal with anxiety on a day-to-day basis, try and avoid coffee. I made the mistake of having it at uni as well. It just made me feel worse. So yes, it's something that in society just seems like the norm, but it's better if you can cut it out because it doesn't really have any health benefits. You won't make your life worse for not having coffee. The second thing is sugar. Again, it's a stimulant. It kind of makes you have that sugar high and then you crash. It's not great for you. It's processed. It's difficult for your body to handle. So cutting out sugar is definitely a plus. That means minimizing chocolate. Well, actually a lot of things have sugar in, so it's quite hard to start that journey of looking at the labels and seeing how much sugar it has. But basically sweet things, try and cut out. Again, it is better for you anyway, but it will also leave you feeling less nauseous and less anxious. Now, health-wise, I decided to cut out dairy, red meat, and I try and avoid gluten. Gluten is just kind of put in everything now, and it's not that gluten itself is necessarily really bad for you, because I know a lot of people avoid gluten now, but it is because it's almost in everything. And when you keep having the same thing, your body becomes intolerant to it, and gluten is kind of the glue in bready type things. So it just can leave you feeling really like stodgy. You know, your stomach feels heavier, and that again can make you feel more anxious. It's subtle changes that you might not really be able to tie together that quickly, but it does happen. So one of the reasons I avoided gluten was because I realised how much of it I was actually eating by trying to avoid it. So when I say avoid gluten, it doesn't mean jump straight for all the gluten-free produce, because a lot of it is high in sugar and it's also processed, so you still might find you don't feel that much better. What I mean is try and find alternatives, because you start to realise you have breaded chicken, a burger, but like with bread, sandwiches, those kinds of things. Trying to avoid it means that you'll actually improve your diet, hopefully, and have more variety, and then it means you can actually have like baked goods when you feel like it without having to worry about it. Dairy was something that I never really had a problem with, but from a young age I didn't really like drinking milk. I don't know if you had it in school, where you had those little cartons of milk that you had to drink during like break or something. I don't know, I always hated that. So I've never been a fan of dairy, but obviously again it's in a lot of things. And then I went through a stage when I enjoyed eating cheeses and those kinds of things, but then again as I got even older it just didn't suit me anymore, and I realised again dairy started to make me feel quite nauseous. Whether that's because it's over processed, I don't know, but it helped me a lot. So I would recommend trying. If you start to feel nauseous when you're anxious, try cutting out dairy to see if that has an impact. Red meat, again, I'm not really a nutritionist. I don't have that much experience with food. As I said, it's not something I particularly enjoy. It's more like a must. But cutting out red meat definitely helped. I think it's to do with how easily it's like digested by your body. But basically, I try to eat things that are as light as possible. So even white meats I'm eating less and less of. It's like verging on veganism, but it's not like a choice in terms of just being vegan. It's more like that's what suits me at the moment. So listen to your body, try different things, try and avoid heavy foods, fatty foods, just unhealthy foods, because keeping your gut healthier will actually help your mind and your mental health. It's the same way exercise helps. So looking after your body means looking after your mind. And if you find that changing your diet can assist in that, then that's brilliant. I've read about foods that actually actively like reduce anxiety. So it's not avoiding things, it's actually choosing to eat something that helps. But for me, it never really worked. It's stuff that's like high in protein, like certain nuts or seeds. There's also fish is supposed to be good. That's not something that particularly works for me. Like, it's neither here nor there. I'm not really a big seafood person, but whatever works for you. I mean, do some research and see if there's something that appeals to you, but listen to your body, see what you fancy eating. Smaller meals, again, eating little and often can be better because you're not asking too much of your body, you're not getting too full, but you're making sure you're eating enough in the day to give you energy throughout the day. That's basically it. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what foods you avoid or choose to have and how that's affected your anxiety and how you feel about it. Don't forget to subscribe to see more anxiety related videos, and see you next time.